in this time I've been spending with you, especially as we're out in public and doing things that we do, one of many things that I've noticed about their interaction with you is their lack of shared meaning. And I know you know what I'm talking about here, because wherever we go with children, especially in their curiosity, they have this dissonance going on because you don't have the last half of your legs, right? You're going on a wheelchair or you're bum hiking or whatever, and the public's reaction to you has been startling for me to see there. And really what that boils down to is shared meaning. Because I know you want them to at least feel comfortable enough to ask, or just feel comfortable enough just to say hi. What does that feel like for you to not have that shared meaning?
Yeah. Well, for almost 30 years, I'm pretty used to it.
Right.
But it's isolating. It's, I am different. I am seen differently. I'm spoken to louder, as if somehow...
Like you're deaf?
Yes.
Like the last of you... Sorry, I stepped on you.
I'm spoken like, and you know this, everyone else is spoken to but me, right? There's always assumptions, like if we go somewhere to eat, I always transfer to a chair, and they're always wanting to move a chair for me. Yeah. And when a child wants to ask and the parents or guardian are like, no, don't ask, I'm always, it's okay. It's okay to have conversation. And I have found that when I answer that way, 95% of the time, everyone softens and wants to understand.
Yeah, you've opened the door for shared meaning to happen there. And that's what we're talking about today on this episode of The Witch and the Writer. After editing the last episode, I recognized, just like I did in the intro of this episode, is that I step on you. And meaning that when you are saying something, I interrupt you. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry you. I don't ever want to break the equality that's going on here. So I apologized to you yesterday during my edit of this, and I just wanted to do it here.
And if I can just speak into that for just a moment, I didn't even realize at a conscious level that that is happening. And I think that while in an unconscious level, while that's waking up inside of me, probably you see it through my body language or my facial expression, I think that many women don't realize that they are being spoken over. And at our age, sometimes we have to get it out before we forget it. So again, this is where shared meaning is so important to understand, is he doing that because it's something important and he doesn't want to forget it? Am I doing it because it's something important and I don't want to forget it? Or is it habit? Is it not in a dominating way, but I'm dominating the conversation, I'm dominating the camera, I'm dominating, right? Yeah.
A lot of our communication habits are very hard to break because first off, we don't realize that they're habits. And secondly, we've been doing them for so long that they just become rutted into our exchange here. One thing I didn't cover in the self was this concept of high self-monitoring and low self-monitoring and how there needs to be this give and take here between the two of them. But especially when we're trying to reach for this idea of shared meaning, and notice I'm not calling it meaning, okay, it's shared meaning, we have to be just a little bit more elevated in our awareness and our self-monitoring to make sure that we have the ability to be understood.
Yes. And if I can take the high and the low,
please,
and refer to it as a vibration. And when we can have a vibration together that's vibrating here, and throughout our day, our vibrations kind of dip. And you know this when you go into a grocery store, you can feel the vibration of the room. When somebody walks into a room, you feel the vibration. The old outdated saying, if mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. You know, you come into a room, the conversation about your dad, the last episode, right? There's a vibration. And when we can bring our vibration together, we then have a frequency, like tuning in a radio, an old AM, FM radio, and then the communication is clear. There's less static, there's less dipping, if we can hold that vibration and that frequency.
So if I'm hearing you, we need to bring that high and low frequency together. Your frequency and my frequency, her frequency and his frequency, or hers and hers, or his and his. We need to somehow bring it together to where if it's at least resonating with each other there, maybe harmonizing, maybe on the same frequency. And I have to bring home the point that the whole point of our communication, relationally especially, is to reach shared meaning. One of the barriers to shared meaning that you brought up is this idea that they don't even acknowledge you in the chair in public. You know, when people first see you, there's this shock, maybe even sometimes a gasping, or in some cases I've seen, they're ignoring you, right? And we call it disconfirmation. It's one of the easiest default attitudes we get into when we face a situation where we don't understand what's going on. We don't have shared meaning with that. So it's easier for us to just go and look the other way instead of, that must have been quite an experience. Please tell me more.
Do you mind if I ask?
Which is a great statement, a great question here, because what you're using there is what's called meta communication. And meta communication helps us reach shared meaning. What meta communication is communication about communication. Do you mind if I ask? I ask what? Well, I ask. That ask means that there's another message that's going to come along here, right? As it goes. So using those meta messages, those messages about communication, about the subject that we're talking about, helps us clarify and helps us further reach shared meaning.
Yes.
So in bringing our two worlds together, your magic and my logic world, and as I am learning your context and you are learning mine too, as we go back and forth, man, there's a lot of things there that I really don't understand. I lack the shared meaning on that. You have introduced me to my natal chart, okay? And I have not given it its due to really understand what's going on. And earlier you referenced this idea of Mercury, and still in my head, I'm like, I don't know what Mercury is. I know Mercury is a planet, but I don't know what its relationship to the rest of the heavens as they were aligned on the day and on the moment that I was born. What does that really mean to me? And I've come back to you a number of times about that, and you use this wonderful analogy to help me understand that. So would you mind revisiting that?
No, not at all. But I think we can we've led into it, but I want to lead into it also from what you have brought up as far as communication and perspective, which is key to shared meaning.
Yes, absolutely.
So do you want to talk that first and then I'll come in with the Mercury? Or you want me to just go ahead and lead with?
Do you want me to talk about perspective? Perspective
and communication were the first two things that you'd brought up.
Yes. Yeah. So, well, the first one was language. And even in that language, what I'm talking about here, what I don't understand is maybe the connotative meaning of Mercury. I know the denotative meaning of Mercury. It's a planet, okay?
And an element.
And, oh, yes, of course. It's an element there, too, right? Thank you.
Sorry, I stepped
No, no, I'm glad you did. The idea that I'm trying to get to here is meaning exists in language, and language is subsists of both connotative and denotative meaning. Denotative meaning is what we can go to a source for to find. This is the definition of the word Mercury, which you reminded me has at least 2 definitions. And that's where things get murky, okay? Mm-hmm. As opposed to the connotative meaning, and the C-O-N in connotative means with, okay? So we add meaning to, or we're bringing meaning with the context that's going on there. Mm-hmm. And if we don't have some kind of idea with the words that we're using connotatively, we don't have shared meaning. It's that pure and simple. We're not arriving at something. And we could fake our way through it and go, oh, yeah, okay, I understand exactly what you're saying. Or we can go through and say, I really don't get this whole Mercury thing. Mm-hmm. Does that help?
Yes.
Meta message?
Meta message. Yes, it does. And I love that, I'm just going to touch on this a minute, that you asked it not from a place of dominion over or that I'm less intelligent, right? You asked it directly, which says that you do want then the shared meaning of Mercury. So Mercury on our natal blueprint is the great communicator. It's the way that we perceive the world. And our natal blueprint, to give you an idea, is we travel a lot. And I do trust Eric to get the map out so that we're just not following the sun, which there's nothing wrong with following the sun, right? But having a map and charting the course is really important. But you have a map. At the moment that we're born, we have a map of this life, and that is our natal blueprint. Now, many of us have been, don't even know. We poo-poo that off, and that's fine. But I do believe that as we weren't sent here just to muddle through. We have cosmic, universal source energy with us, and we also came with a map. And in that map, one of the players, one of the guides, if you will, is Mercury. And the archetype of Mercury is, as I said, the great communicator. He is the way we perceive the world. And then where do we get that archetypal energy is the placement, the 12 signs of the zodiac, the solar. It's the sun signs. From our perspective here on Earth, I'm not talking constellations. I'm speaking seasonal.
Okay.
And each of those signs has an archetypal characteristic, as does each of the planets. And it can go deeper, but that's really the basic idea. So, for example, if I want to understand the map, I trust Eric. I know he's going to get us from point A to point B with some delicious energies in between, adventures in between. But I also understand a map. Black roads could be really treacherous. While they could be adventurous, you want to be prepared for them. The wider, more colorful lines are the highways and the interstates. And we know we're going to get through. You're not going to have potholes and washouts there. It's going to be paved for the most part, right? And I get to understand the map that way. I can also assist you, right? A lot of times now we depend on Siri. We depend on AI to get us from point A to point B. And I am finding that nothing wrong with having an astrologer read that with you, but I firmly believe that we are not meant to be dictated or determined by someone else, right? We can be informed by someone else who is skilled in that, but it's our responsibility. It's my responsibility to know what highways we're taking so that I'm aware and I am prepared. And it's the same with our natal blueprint. To come into your own understanding based on the archetypal characteristics of the planets, the houses, and the signs is our own responsibility. And there is a freedom with that because then I am co-creative. I am co-creative on our journeys from point A to point B, from the south to the north, the east to the west. I'm co-creative that way. And I think that we should be co-creative in our own natal blueprint as well.
In this co-creativity, what's the role of shared meaning?
We can have a shared experience then. we can show up at a location and go, oh, this is what I'm seeing. What are you seeing? This is what I'm seeing, right? It's not, we call this a juicy fruit moment. This is a whole story. It's not like the surprised stick of gum that I'm thinking I'm taking double mint and it's actually juicy fruit. I am showing up like, instead of, oh, why are we at this campground? I thought we were going to be at that campground. We have shared meaning here. And then we can have shared experience.
It's those experiences that we share in our travels, and even doing the show here, that just adds another level of shared experience here for us. We can both relate to it on a meaningful level.
We're creating healthy strata in
I like
our
that.
lives and in our shared lives, right? In a family life. You can take it, a community life. It's a strata,
Right.
and it's shared. And you can experience it differently, and I can experience it differently. Where the natal blueprint is really helpful is I understand the way you communicate via your experiences in life and your natal blueprint. And I can understand my own. This comes back to the self, because I understand my natal blueprint, and I go, oh, I get it. And then I can bring in my 60 plus years of life and go, oh, and they begin to work together. They begin to alchemize. And instead of being at the mercy of, or the being dictated by, I am then in co-creation, mixing the elixir for myself. I'm now able to bring the gold forward.
The gold, at least hopefully to both of us, is shared meaning,
Yes.
right? The alchemy ends up in this idea of shared meaning. What have been, well, first off, let me go back to the natal blueprint there, because this is something completely new to me, and I have not given it the time that's required for me to understand it, not only on my blueprint, but on your blueprint. You have the advantage of knowing both and what they mean to each other. And so what I'm getting from you is, if I understand the meaning of mine and understand the meaning of yours, I am that much more enlightened about how you and I can relationally get along.
Absolutely. And it's less of about a knowing, because with everything, like we could go to a particular destination in southern Utah and experience it one day, and then the next time we come back and we're like, I didn't even know that. That was here. I'm seeing it from a different perspective, because we mature, our strata strengthens, and Earth, we're coming into a different connection with Earth. So yes, you will understand me and understand you and understand how we come together in this different way. For example, your Aquarius is an air sign, and it has a higher perspective in that you can see it from a higher place, where mine is Sagittarius, which is fire. So just looking at the elements alone is huge key. Your air can blow out my fire, right? And my fire can suck your air. And I think we've experienced that.
Yeah, we have.
So it's the understanding is lifetimes of understanding, but it gives you a clue, an aha. It is the roadmap. And we could go down that destination, as we often do, to the same locations in southern Utah or up here, and we have a whole new experience. But what's shared, one, we want the experience.
Right.
We want it from our perspective,
We're open to it.
and we want to share it with each other.
One of the steps to this whole concept of shared meaning is at the very first to be open to it, to allow space for that meaning to happen, which is a wild departure from the academic things that I've been teaching here. You set space for certain things to happen. How can we set space for shared meaning to happen?
Who do I get to be when I arrive at that destination?
Okay.
What do I want to experience? And that just might be, I just want to be open to receive whatever is there for me, right? It's not an expectation, but it's an intention. I intentionally want to go to this destination with you. And I'm going to trust that you've read the map and you've charted the course.
Right.
And I'm going to look at that map and go, oh, okay, I don't mind that part of that black road. We just did this a couple of weeks ago before we came up here. And it was a grand adventure. But there's intention, there's desire, without expectation.
Oh, I love that. All three of those. Intention for shared meeting, desire for it, obviously. And then once we drop the expectations of shared meeting, we become more surprised in the meanings that we arrive at. There.
That's delightful.
Oh, I really like that a lot.
It's delightful.
I think I'll wrap us up on that. Is there anything more you want to address?
No, I think
Okay.
we're good.
Again, if you have any questions, comments, please post them below. We are still working on a date, maybe for a talk back.
Yeah.
I think we'll do that in our next episode. We'll determine what that's going to be and send out a Zoom link to those of you who have subscribed. If you haven't, please do. And we'll go on from there.
Sounds great.
Thank you, Julia.
Thank you. Thank you.